The introduction. This story is about the author's encounter with a very rigid photographer. This story is about a customer, the narrator, who wishes to have his photograph taken. But the photographer is an obsessed perfectionist, yes, to that level that he edits the narrator's photograph to such an extent that the original is changed. That is, in the end, the photograph that comes out does not look like the narrator. Of course, the customer is angry, he's not satisfied with the editing, and he's utterly disappointed. He breaks into tears and leaves the studio. So now let's start with the story. With the Photographer by Stephen Leacock. I want my photograph taken, I said. The photographer looked at me without enthusiasm. He was a drooping man in a grey suit with the dim eye of a natural scientist. But there is no need to describe him. Everybody knows what a photographer is like. Sit there, he said, and wait. I waited an hour. I read the Ladies' Companion for 1912, the Girls' Magazine for 1902, and the Infants' Journal for 1888. I began to see that I had done an unwarrantable thing in breaking in on the privacy of this man's scientific pursuits with a face like mine. After an hour, the photographer opened the inner door. Come in, he said severely. I went into the studio. Sit down, said the photographer. I sat down in a beam of sunlight filtered through a sheet of factory cotton hung against a frosted skylight. The photographer rolled a machine into the middle of the room and crawled into it from behind. He was only in it a second. Just time enough for one look at me. And then he was out again, tearing the cotton sheet and the window panes with a hooked stick, apparently frantic for light and air. Then he crawled back into the machine again and drew a little black cloth over himself. This time he was quite in there. I knew he was praying, and I kept still. When the photographer came out at last, he looked very grave and shook his head. The face is quite wrong, he said. I know, I answered quietly. I have always known it. He sighed. I think, he said, the face would be better 3/4 full. I'm sure it would, I said enthusiastically, for I was glad to find that the man had such a human side to him. So would yours. In fact, I continued, how many faces one sees that are apparently hard, narrow, limited, but the minute you get them 3/4, full they get wide, large, almost boundless in... But the photographer had ceased to listen. He came over and took my head in his hands and twisted it sideways. I thought he meant to kiss me, and I closed my eyes. But I was wrong. He twisted my face as far as it would go and then stood looking at it. He sighed again. I don't like the head, he said. Then he again went back to the machine and took another look. Open the mouth a little, he said. I started to do so. Close it, he added quickly. Then he looked again. The ears are bad, he added. Droop them a little more. Thank you. Now the eyes. Roll them under your lids. Put the hands on the knees. Please, and turn the face just a little upward. Yes, that's better. Now just expand the lungs. So, a hump, the neck, that's it. And just contract the waist. Ha! And twist the hip up towards the elbow. Now. I still don't quite like the face. It's just a trifle too full. But Now I swung myself round the stool. "Stop," I said, with emotion, but I think with dignity. "Listen, this face is my face. It's not yours. It is mine. I have lived with it for 40 years, and I know it's false. I know it's out of drawing. I know it wasn't made for me, but it's my face, the only one I have." I was conscious of a break in my voice, but I went on. "Such as it is, I have learned to love it. And this is my mouth, not yours. These ears are mine. And if your machine is too narrow..." Here I started to rise from the seat. Snick! The photographer had pulled a string. The photograph taken. I could see the machine still staggering from the shock. "I think," said the photographer, pursuing his lips in a pleased smile, "that I caught the features just in a moment of animation." "So," I said bitingly, "features? You did think I could animate them, I suppose? But let me see the picture." "Oh, there's nothing to see yet," he said. "I have to develop the negative first. Come back on Saturday and I will let you see a proof of it." On Saturday, I went back. The photographer beckoned me in. I thought he seemed quieter and graver than before. I think, too, there was a certain pride in his manner. He unfolded the proof of a large photograph and we both looked at it in silence. "Is it me?" I asked. "Yes," he said quietly. "It is you." And we went on looking at it. "The eyes," I said hesitatingly. They don't look very much like mine." "Oh no," he answered. "I have retouched them. They come out splendidly, don't they?"
Fine," I said. "But surely my eyebrows are not like that."
"No," said the photographer with a momentary glance at my face. "The eyebrows are removed. We have a process now, the Delphide, for putting in the new ones. You'll notice here where we have applied it to carry the hair away from the brow. I don't like your hair low on the skull." "Oh, you don't you?" I said. "No," he went on. "I don't care for it. I like to get the hair clear back to the superficies and make out a new brow line."
"But what about the mouth?" I said with bitterness that was lost on the photographer. "Is that mine?"
It's adjusted a little," he said.
"Ha! Yours is too low. I found I couldn't use it."
"Okay. The ears, though," I said, "strike me as a good likeliness. They are just like mine." "Ah, yes," said the photographer thoughtfully. "That's so, but I can fix that all right in the print. We have a process now, the sulfide, for removing the ears entirely. I'll see if..."
Hey, listen!" I interrupted, drawing myself up and animating my features to their full extent and speaking with a withering scorn that should have blasted the man on the spot. "Listen! I came here for a photograph, a picture, something which, mad though it seems, would have looked like me. I wanted something that would depict my face as heaven gave it to me, humble though the gift may have been. I wanted something that my friends might keep after my death to reconcile them to my loss. It seems that I was mistaken. What I wanted is no longer done. Go on then with your brutal work. Take your negative or whatever it is you call it. Dip it in sulfide, bromide, oxide, cowhide, anything you like. Remove the eyes, correct the mouth, adjust the face, restore the lips, reanimate the necktie and reconstruct the waistcoat, coat it with an inch of gloss, shade it, emboss it, gild it, till even you acknowledge that it is finished. Then when you have done all that, keep it for yourself and your friends. They may value it. To me, it is but a worthless bauble. I broke into tears and left. So, friends and children, as you saw, that was a beautiful comic and eye-opening encounter of the narrator with the photographer. A very nice story, relatable to today's environment, where we live with touch-ups, selfies. You can say we live in an era of political correctness and body shaming. We do a lot of touch-up to our photographs, right? And ultimately what we see is the photograph does not look like ourselves. Of course, it does look better. But you must have heard friends or some relatives saying, hey, it looks different than the photo, right? Yes, that is a hard truth of this era, of this 21st century. Few meanings: unwarrantable, not justifiable, or inexcusable. Grave is serious, twist is to turn. Then animation is liveliness. Beckon is to signal someone with hand, maybe to come, go, you can call it as a gesture. And superficies, of course, surface of the body or bodily expressions. And I don't see any other meaning right now. If you want to know, maybe you can ask me. Oh yes, I see in the last line, bauble. Bauble is an inexpensive piece of jewelry. And now from examination point of view. Remember how the photographer looked. Remember how the narrator looked. Remember the magazines that he went through, and of course it is those magazines only which brings in a sense of inferiority in the narrator, and that is why he succumbs to the instructions given by the photographer. That is, look here, look there. He thinks that the photographer has a human side. Yes, I think all photographers have these lovely models magazines with to which a normal person cannot correlate to. You should also know about the two processes, the delmide and the sulfide, the instructions given by the photographer to the narrator, the narrator's outburst in the end when he sees that, oh, it's a different photograph altogether. You should also know the reason why the narrator had come there to have his photograph taken. Yeah, that is, he wanted something that his friends can keep after his death to reconcile to the loss. And of course, yes, you should also know that the narrator says that it seems I was mistaken. Why you think he was mistaken and how it is relevant to today's era, do write. In fact, do learn and then write it in your exam. Subscribe my channel for more updates and share my video for good karma. Bye-bye and all the best.